welcome to the Mani and Fariha show. As always, I'm elated to have you join me today. The topic of discussion is leadership. And oftentimes we think, what does leadership mean? What does it mean to me? And the best leaders out there, what are they up to and how do they get to that leadership status? There's something that I was reading that leaders don't look for followers. They actually look for other leaders and to create other leaders. It's so easy to follow a great leader, but a great leader recognizes that once their time is done and they have to pass, someone has to take over. So they're always creating more and more leaders. And that is the topic of our discussion today. So what is it that you would love to have leadership in your life? And who are the leaders that you want to create? As you are aware, I love quotes and I love sharing them with you. So I have selected a couple today, which I feel are very fitting. So first of all, ultimately leadership is not about glorious crowning acts. It's keeping your team focused on a goal and motivated to do their best to achieve it. So it's not even about us. It's very altruistic. It's about the team that we've created and seeing them at their ultimate supreme way of being. Especially when the stakes are high, and when are they not high? But of course, that can be relative and subjective. For one person at a certain part of their life, $1,000 can be a big deal. But when a person gets to a stake of $10 million, then of course, it's a very different conversation. But regardless of whether it's 1,000 or 10 million, the stakes can be high for you regardless. And the consequences really matter. So yes, for someone to lose $1,000, it could be their everything. And for another person to lose 10 million could be just a fraction of what they actually have. So going back to the aspect of, it's so relative and subjective, it really shows a person's heart that if everything that they have is that $1,000 and they give it away or they invest it into their community versus someone who has a lot more, it's like, how do you measure such generosity? Because apparently the 10 million could look like more, but what is it to that person who's actually giving it? Something to reflect, don't you think? Anyway, going back to my quote. So it's about laying the groundwork for others' success and then standing back and letting them shine. And this quote is actually by Chris Hadfield. I'm sure that you can Google other things from him, and because he has a lot to offer. And this truly is what leadership is about letting the others shine. Who is it that's around you who may not have that confidence, and to instill that in them? Another quote which I'd like to share is by Robin Sharma. So leadership is not about a title or designation. And how often do we get caught up in titles and define ourselves by them, that, oh, I'm Mr. or Ms. CEO of this company. And yet, what does it mean? What have you accomplished? What are you doing? What is the difference that you're making? I think that those things are a lot more valuable than just a title or designation. So it's about impact, it's about influence, and it's about inspiration. Impact involves getting results. So what I was saying, that you may have this title, but what is it that you're actually doing? What is the impact that you're making in the world and on others? Influence is about spreading the passion that you have for your work. And I thought this was really interesting because we all have different definitions of what influence means for us. And in this context, Robin Sharma has said that influence is about spreading the passion that you have for your work. Oftentimes, we find that people's enthusiasm and passion is so contagious, and that's why it's so easy to follow a great leader, because their passion is infectious, and it causes others to bring out their passion or contribute to the one that they see ahead of them. And that's when inspiration comes to your team and to the customers that you have. So I would say that we live in a very consumerist society, and it's a case of either materialistic goods or services. There's always something that someone needs out there. But to actually be inspired to say, oh my gosh, I could benefit in this manner through this service. And especially in living in Canada, it is very much a service society, because I would say we're very blessed. We have food, we have shelter, and now it's always a case of bettering ourselves. What is it that we want to impact in the world, and how do we want to be a contribution. And oftentimes we may have the ideas and the passion, but we don't have the skill set. But there's always someone out there who has the skill set that can assist us to further our passion and then be that contribution to the world that we wish to be. So that's it. Those are the two quotes from me that I've selected, and I will be getting into the conversation further with our two guests. One of them you're already familiar with. It is Fatima Gould. She was actually our guest on our very first show, so very excited to have her back. She was here discussing her book, which is Over the Wall, and today we'll be discussing the movement and how it's taken off. And I'm so excited to share this with each and every one of you. And I know it is geared towards women, but you know, there's always the man behind the woman, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Over the Wall Leadership Ambassador Program. And I have to say that I'm so privileged and honored to be part of this. So the ambassador movement celebrates leadership amongst women. As an ambassador, you have powerfully chosen to offer your life skills to an audience of women who are yearning for personal growth and development. Wow. This online platform showcases who you are for others and your contribution to humanity. The Over the Wall Ambassador Program is the access to broaden your target audience to people who are searching for coaching, mentorship, and a credible place to expand themselves. What a great platform this is. And especially, you know, like for children, the first teacher is always the mother. And for them to have this platform to express themselves, to connect to other women, to offer their skill sets, because we can't be the jack of all trades, right? But we can be masters and great masters of some and then share those skills. So we are creating a powerful network of change agents with a spectacular feminine spirit who are committed to living an extraordinary life. So ordinary people living extraordinary lives and looking to be an extraordinary contribution. And the mission statement of this powerful movement is, hope is the expectation and trust that all you want will happen. It is the secret to miraculous living. As an over-the-wall ambassador, we live and thrive inside the power of the 7 laws of hope. These laws are based on the universal principles of love, abundance, and a divine recipe for living your life's purpose. Your life's purpose. This powerful formula keeps you plugged into the source and fuels your mind, body, and spirit to unleash who you were born to be. How often do we get lost in what society expects of us or what others want us to be as opposed to who we truly are? So we invite you to explore the true essence of these laws and incorporate daily practices of the hope rituals that provide the ultimate prescription to live the life that you love. And I'm going to share the 7 principles with you. So the first one is love. And truly, love is all that there is in this universe. Faith, we need that faith to, you know, live that life of love. And also the next principle is courage. We have to have that courage. Kindness, forgiveness, gratitude, and happiness. It truly is a great formula, a great recipe to live the life that we love. So we will be furthering this conversation. We will give you a break to reflect on these concepts and what each individually means to you. And upon our return, we will be speaking with Fatima Gould, and I have a surprise guest for you too. So stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. So did you have an opportunity to reflect on the 7 laws of hope for you? Just to reiterate, they are love, faith, courage, kindness, forgiveness, gratitude, and happiness. And to expand upon these concepts and so much more, we have Fatima Gould and Simone Vitellaro.
Hi.
Hi, and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So excited to have you both here. I will actually give Simone an opportunity to introduce herself.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, Fariha, thank you so much for having us on your show today. It is an absolute pleasure. It's actually my first time being on TV, and it's actually very exciting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm so happy to have you both here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm really excited to be here with Fatima Gould as we share our ambassador program for Over the Wall. As you know, my name is Simone Vitellero, and I am a managing partner with Team Synergy. And I'm not sure what else you'd like to know about me, but for example, for 8 years, I've been in the social services agency where I've been able to support children and youth in a mentoring program, so that we can really support the younger generation and having them see themselves as confident, be courageous, just know that they have people that care about them. And mentoring is a huge thing, and really I believe that's what this ambassador program is all about. It's mentoring women and children, if you really think about it, because as we mentor women, they're able to support their children and support all the children and youth around them. So that's
so. As you've been in the social services industry and a true change agent, this just seemed like the next logical step to get into.
Absolutely, because I am committed that we support those that want that support, and they may not even know that they may need it, and so we're their cheerleaders, and that's really what it's all about. Honestly, if I really think about it, why wouldn't I want to do this?
Of course,
I've been in it for so long, and it's something that is very important to me, because I know that the children and youth need the adults in their life in order to move forward. So if we can provide a solid foundation for women of all ages in this ambassador program, and it will just naturally impact all the kids that surround them.
Of course it will. Yes. And Fatima, how did your book just propel into this amazing movement?
Well, as I was talking to Audrey, it just couldn't stop there. She said, you just can't have a book. Then what? You sell a couple of books, 200, 300, and
or
then
thousands,
what? Or thousands. And the mandate is to sell millions, right?
Of course.
But then what? Then it's just a book out there on the shelf, but we want to use it as a tool. So it was really what's next. There always has to be a what's next. And the what's next is a movement. And then after that, there'll be something else. Because once you reach one level and you peter off, you just got to keep rising it higher and higher and higher. So this is the what's next after the book.
Okay, amazing. And how did it develop, and how many people do you have on board now? Because it sounds very exciting. And like Simone said, a true necessity out there.
So right now, we are impacted over 100,000 people as we speak, right?
That's amazing.
100,000 people as we speak, especially through our social media. You'll see us, we're very heavy on social media. We're always sharing quotes and inspirational videos with people. So that's the impact that we're having out there in the world. And the feedback is phenomenal as I speak to women or people reach out to me personally. A cousin of mine reached out to me yesterday. She's saying, I'm loving what you're doing, because as I think about my own life, I really think about my failures. I never thought about my successes. I never thought about the things that I overcame. I never thought that I'm a true warrior, and you gave that to me. And just being who you are and sharing myself so vulnerably out there with the world to see. And I thought, really, this is what the ambassadorship program is all about. So I lead my life like an ambassador.
Yes.
And it's just falling into place.
Amazing.
I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you. And is this cousin actually in Canada or abroad?
Yeah, she lives here in Pickering.
Okay.
But I've noticed that so many other of my relatives and friends are tuning in from the U.S., from England, and from Barbados. Because I had another young lady reach out to me. She's falling on hard times, and I was able to just give her a word of inspirational word and to pray with her, and just have that word be received to elevate her into action, into more action, right? And then I got again, this is what it means to live your life like an ambassador.
Yeah, because sometimes that's all that's required, a word or someone to listen or someone to give us that guidance that we're lacking in our life.
Right.
And the reason why I asked about that is because the power of social media, and that's why I love it so much, is that we are connected to the entire world.
Yes. Yes. And it was like Simone was saying, we're their cheerleader. We are the ambassadorship program. we are your cheerleaders for sure.
For sure. And it doesn't matter what you're going through or where you are in life, and or whether you are focusing on the negative, right? Because we have a tendency to do that. We're always thinking, oh no, this went wrong, or this, I didn't accomplish this. But when we actually shift our thinking, and Dr. Wayne Dyer talks about this a lot, or talked about it when he was alive, and the movie The Shift as well, because that's what it's all about, that shift in our thinking and turning our focus from looking at the negative to looking at the positive, or even just, interrupting our own thoughts.
And when you say interrupting our own thoughts, and I'm sure Simone could attest to this,
Yes.
right now we're looking at what are the future impacts. What are the future impacts as our way of being? And this is what another thing we want to bring to the mentorship program is the impact on your life. If the past is in the past,
Yes.
but it's impacting your present, and now look into your future and seeing how that way of being is truly impacting.
Yeah, totally.
So, Simone, did you have more to add to that?
Yeah, because I think a lot of the time we may not be thinking long term, like what we're doing now. How is that going to impact us long term? And I think that's really what this is about. And another thing I wanted to add was that this is another opportunity for women of all ages to finally share what it is that they might be, experiencing, so that they don't feel they're alone. They don't have to deal with what they're dealing with in silence, right? This is what this is all about. And this is why, Fatima, she's doing daily messages, and that is very vulnerable. It is very courageous. And one time ago, she may not even have even thought of doing that. And that all came out of, her vulnerability and her courage to write her book. And then, with the ambassador program to just expand it, among all women, and to really get that you're not alone. Like, this is what it's all about. Share, so that we can put it out there and that we can guide one another. Because there might be, shame or regret, but there's no need, right? Yeah. And that's really also what this is about, so that we can just bring it out and not have to hide and live in shame or regret anymore.
Because it is so unnecessary. And oftentimes when you talk about that shame, we think that, I'm the only one. Who else can relate to what I've been through? And there's a sense of shame behind it. We're too embarrassed to share.
Right.
But once we start, when we do have the courage to do so, or we do become vulnerable enough to do so, there are so many out there that can benefit from what we've been through, or relate to it, or come out and say, oh my God, you went through that too? So did I, but I was just too ashamed or too embarrassed to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so cool. I got a book review from an 86-year-old woman who read the book, her and her husband. And the first thing she said was, your experience as an immigrant, I can relate to. And I thought, that just warmed my heart. She's 86. She's probably been here forever. And it's she still remembers life as an immigrant, like how I remember coming here from Barbados. And I thought, that's what we want to do, touch, move, and inspire. I mean, even the 86-year-olds.
Of course.
Right? And that's what's so cool about this whole program.
Yeah.
Very much so. Well, as they say, it takes a village to raise a child. And what does that village predominantly consist of? I would say more than half, it would probably be a group of women. And that's the influence that females have in society. Oftentimes we think that, what power does a woman have? And, going through the female rights movement, and you think that we've gotten over it, and yet there's aspects of it which still linger, whether it be in our mentalities or our belief systems, or belief systems that we've inherited from our own parents. But we don't have to do that. When females are empowered and are living to empower other females, then not only can villages of children be raised, but communities and ultimately the world can be raised. So we will be back very shortly to continue our conversation. Welcome back, everyone. We are continuing our riveting conversation with Simone and Fatima. So one question that I often ask our guests is, what are 5 accomplishments in your life that you'd like to share as a contribution to others. And I direct this in a very specific manner because oftentimes we think that, oh, you know, getting a degree, getting a certain amount of money, or again, those societal expectations of success or standards of success. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what is it that success means to you?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because up until like maybe 2 years ago, I looked at success as, you know, what I had, or, you know, I counted it to what I had. And so then I had it mean that maybe I wasn't as successful as I thought I was. But then when I shoved that to the side and I looked at, you know, where I was at one point in my life when I was younger, like I didn't do very well in school. I didn't really care much about it. And so after high school, I just wanted to get a job.
Yes.
And you know, for years I gave myself a hard time. So
what I was very self-critical.
Very self-critical, right? So what I would say is one of my successes is knowing that I did what I did, and you know, I got through hard situations in life, and I came out of it, I would say, pretty good, you know? So like, even looking at that, I see that as a success, right? Because I could have went on for another, God knows how many years, and just criticized myself for not, you know, having a degree, a university degree. And I judged myself for, you know, going to just college. But I really got that, actually, that's amazing. You know, like, because I wouldn't have seen my life go in the direction that it has gone in right now. And so, you know, getting past those internal barriers of not thinking I was successful, comparing because of what others were experiencing in life. So getting through that, you know, being where I am today, like being a managing partner with Team Synergy is phenomenal. And recently I resigned from a job of 8 years that one I loved, absolutely loved, because of the difference we made for children and youth in the Peel region. But being able to take that step and resigning from something that I really enjoyed, but I knew that it was just going to bring me one step further into this future that I'm creating. And then still, I think I'm still working on successes, to be quite honest with you, right?
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
It's always a journey, right?
Yeah, because I know it's never a set thing. It's always evolving. It's like
progressive.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but those are the main things that I think have been a huge success for me.
Yes.
Personally, yeah.
That's wonderful. I was speaking to this older lady yesterday, and she said to me that, Fariha, at one point in my life, I thought that to be happy was the ultimate goal. And I really strove for that. And she said, but it was only when I got into my 30s that I realized it's not about being happy all the time, but it's about the difference that I'm making in the world and that sense of fulfillment that comes from it. So now she views things in a very different manner. And she's older now, I would say in her 70s. And to have carried that forward. Another thing which she struggled with is that self-love aspect. She said that she still constantly deals with that. So for you to have overcome that, that's profound. That is such a great accomplishment. So congratulations.
Right. And I think it's an ongoing thing for me too. Like, because there's that
Isn't it
comparison.
for everyone?
Yeah, there's that comparison all the time. But it's just continuing being committed to yourself and what makes you happy. And like, I'm really connecting to that instead of, you know, always comparing myself to what I think is success, right? So, and it's an ongoing thing, and you just keep on, you know, learning, always learning more about yourself.
Constant work in progress.
Absolutely.
For sure. And that's what we all are. Yeah. Because like Fatima said, that, you know, once you think that you've gotten somewhere, it kind of plateaus, and then you have to look for the next thing and the next thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And for yourself, Fatima?
I would say that the first thing that I've accomplished is I have produced 2 children who are my gift. And not all of us get to have that privilege. Yes. We think it's a right, but actually it's a privilege. And it's a privilege to see them grow up into people who are compassionate, who are loving, who are caring, and like to give back to others. That's a major accomplishment for sure.
You must be very proud.
I am very proud of Aldrich and Danelle, very proud. two wonderful human beings. And those are my two legacy that I see continuing on in this world. When I see their fairness, when I see their compassion, when I see how they love humanity, that to me is a major accomplishment. Another major accomplishment is completing the book. And that was huge because I really got for myself what it really meant to complete something like that, you know, and to have people read it and to say, I can't put it down. It's really moving. It's really touching. It's really inspiring. I have
It really is. It's an amazing book, everyone.
Right?
If you haven't read it, read it.
You have to get it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that to me is an accomplishment. And it really made me look at my life and my history of my family in a totally different light when you talked about generations and what generations really mean. And so that's another major accomplishment, the book. Starting this movement for other people is going to be the legacy. This is the legacy that I will leave. It'll be a legacy of hope renewed. That when you think about that, you'll think about Over the Wall and you'll think about all of the ambassadors. And I just see that growing and growing and growing till it reaches all four corners of the world.
Mm-hmm. I just want to expand upon a word that you chose to use, and that's hope renewed. Because oftentimes we have this expectation of, okay, you know, things are going to work out, and that hope within us. But when it doesn't happen, when things get even worse, that hope dies. And so when I think of hope renewed, it takes even more courage than it did the first time to get that renewal of hope. Mm-hmm. So if you can expand of exactly what you mean by that.
Exactly, and that's what it is, you know. You hope and you have faith, but again, you reach a level and you plateau. And you definitely have to renew it. You have to take it to another level. Like, I'm going to hope that there's water in this cup, but then when the water is done, I have to hope that it fills back up. No, I actually have to refill it. I have to refill my life up with renewed hope on a totally different level than what I needed before. Like, I knew I could look after my kids, but now I've gotten them to teenagers. Yes. Now they're ready to move into adulthood. I have to renew that on a different level because they're in a different part of their lives. I'm in a different part of my life. And I always have to be constantly renewing that hope, not letting it fade, not letting it die out, but just adding a little bit more spice just to push it up a little further and a little further. You need that. You need that little extra wind beneath your wings, that extra renewal of hope just to keep you going and going. Because when you're down, you know, you need just a little more to pick you back up than you did the first time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and then because life does this to you, right? It's not going to be once or twice. We all have and will continue to fall down again and again. But it's not how many times you've fallen down. It's how many times you've gotten back up. That's what it's all about.
Right. Yes. And that level of hope that you had before, you're going to need a different level. You're going to need a different, you're going to also need a different, it has to come from a different source. Because that oil source is going to be tapped out. So if I'm going to Simone all the time, Simone's going to be plateaued. So I need to go to you because you're going to bring a different level, a different understanding, a different level of consciousness to it.
Yes.
That's what's going to push you and renew it again and again and again and again. It's always about the pot of people that you have with you, and they're filling it up till it overflows. So that you're always giving from the overflow.
From the overflow. That's beautiful.
Overflow of hope. Oh,
yeah, that's so good. Have to incorporate that into the movement somehow, right? Yeah. The overflow. As the saying goes, that, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that is what reminded me of what you just shared, that once a certain amount of hope has been used up, then we have to look somewhere else for that new mentor, that new teacher, that new idea even.
That's right.
Yeah. So what is it that each of you would like to leave behind as your personal legacy? Like, what is your aspiration for the future, for yourselves, for the movement, for humanity?
For me, what I want to leave behind is that, you know what, just like live your life. Do what makes you happy. What, you know, like it just lights you up, because this is your life. It's only you, you know, living it. Like, just be the author of your own story and acknowledge everything that you've gone through. and acknowledge the fact that you're here today and you got through it. And it takes courage to get through what you went through, and just know that all I can say is really it's your life. Like, live it. Because if I was like 14 right now and I was speaking to my 14-year-old self, I'd say, like, it's all good. It's all going to work out. And at the end of the day, it's all that makes you happy. So you need to make the choices that fill you up, that inspire you, that has you want to wake up every morning and just take on life and take on whatever it's going to throw at you, and know that you can actually conquer through it all. And then also, last but not least, is create a community around you, because you can't do it on your own. I know I can't, and I know if I were to depend on myself all the time, I may not get far in life. I will get far, but not as far as I know that I'm capable of. And so I really encourage, each and every single person in this world to create a community. And as well as kids, like my legacy I hope to leave back is that every single young person in this world knows that they are loved, knows that they are cared for, that, they feel comfortable in their own skin, that, you guys are all going to be okay, and that you have a world of supporters around you. And that's what I hope to leave behind.
What a beautiful message. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, everything will work out.
Yeah.
While you were speaking, a proverb came to mind. It's actually an African proverb that if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, go with others.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. And Fatima?
So if I were to say I would want to leave behind, I want to leave behind a legacy of hope, that people know that they are loved and cherished, and that you weren't brought to this world by accident. You were here because the Creator said that you should be here to fulfill a purpose. And what I would want people to do is listen for the still, soft voice that talks to you, the voice that says that no good thing would be withheld from you. If the voice in your head is always negative, if the voice in your head is always telling you to go left when you should be, the still, soft voice is saying go right. The legacy I want to leave with people is to listen to that. Listen to your intuition, because you're born with it. And you just have to listen to it more loudly, that still, soft voice, than the voice in your head. And what I want to really leave is that hope. Hope is always there for you to get at any time, at any age, for anyone.
Hope is always there at any time, at any age, and for anyone. And it's there for each and every one of us, and for you too. So never, ever, ever lose hope. And if it does get lost, there's always a renewal of hope. So great, great messages. Thank you so much, Fatima and Simone, for being here with me, for your contribution to the show, to all of our viewers, and of course to the world. Everything that you're doing is phenomenal. And here, I said that our topic was leaders and leadership, and we have 2 demonstrations of great leaders. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on your show today.
And so what I want to leave everyone is to go to the website, www.iamoverthewall.com, and share your stories, listen to the inspirational audio messages, and send us an email with your story, with a blog, with anything you want us to know about you that we can share with the world. And if you're interested in becoming an ambassador, go there again and email at info@iamoverthewall.com and send us an email.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Fatima. So we will be sharing all that contact information on our Facebook page as well, so stay tuned. We have our show, as you are aware, every Friday on Facebook, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our show is also aired on IPTV, such as Jadoo and Shava and other boxes. And then if you've missed it, all those places, you can catch us on YouTube as well. I will be leaving you with one last quote to kind of sum up everything that we've discussed today. And this quote is by Harold S. Geenen. And the quote is, "Leadership is practiced, not so much in words as in attitude and in actions." And I would say that today we truly have had the illustration and depiction of leadership in attitude and action. So until next time, it has been a pleasure to have you accompany me. Goodbye, God bless, and I look forward to having you accompany me next week.